Hello, and thank you for joining me again. I'm Stephen Englander. This is my little business show where we talk about all the events of the week that I can think of and hopefully give you some business tips so you can go home and the show's all been worth watching. And I know a lot of people have been waiting all week, so excited to come and watch my show. But why don't you come and watch us live? Because we are filmed in front of a live audience. You know, Graham, I've always wanted to say that. So anyway, I've always wanted to say we're filming under a live audience.
Yeah, there's always a live audience.
There's always a live audience.
I'm always here.
You are
trapped.
You are. What we're going to talk about, we were talking about before, landlords, weren't we? Because a lot of landlords and commercial landlords, aren't able to turf people out for not paying rent for another 9 months. So I don't know whether that's good or bad. I suppose it depends where you are. But if you are struggling with your rent, and you've got a shop, that at the moment until March the landlords can't turf you out. I suggest you be fair. I mean, you're going to have to pay the rent at some point, so come to arrangements to pay, because I think that's part of the criteria anyway. But yeah, it's a shame for a landlord, because a lot of landlords are struggling to pay their mortgages and their interest on the mortgages. And now we've got a situation where they can't get new tenants in if the tenant can't pay the rent.
Oh, come on. These sweet, lovely landlords have been exploited for this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
And now what does the government do?
No, I think it's good. I think
months.
businesses need a little bit of help. But I'm more concerned with small businesses that if they can't pay the rent now, are they sure they're going to be able to pay the rent when things start going back to normal? I mean, things will go back to normal. They'll probably be better than ever. So if you feel that keeping bricks and mortar establishments is the way to go, then no, that's fine. I just thought I'd mention it because it's one of those areas that it's not win-win, is it? All parties are going to lose here. So this is why I mentioned it, because in business you need to have a win-win mentality where your customer gains and you gain as well. So that that's the nature of good business. That's why a lot of us stay in business for a long time. It also applies to stat demand. So you're okay, Graham. You're not going to go bankrupt.
Why? What's that?
Well, a stat demand is where somebody's looking to apply to the courts to have you go bankrupt or into liquidation. So they've been suspended for another 3 months as well. But don't look at it as a reprieve. Just look at it as get your affairs in order. And if the business it's not feasible anymore, then look to close and start again.
Do you know why I don't know what stat demands are?
Because you're a good boy. You've never had.
Because I've got accounts direct behind me, Stephen. They look after me.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. If anyone's going to issue a stat demand to Graham, it's going to be me.
It's got to go through you first.
It's going to be me. What do you think of Amazon at the moment? You love Amazon just because they're good at delivering, don't they?
I love me a bit of Jeff. Yeah, I do, yeah.
But you know that 2% sales tax?
Yes, the one that we all demanded.
Yeah, it's now just being put straight back to their customers, which are anybody selling on Amazon. So all they've done is increase their charges by 2% to cover the 2% sales tax. Good, isn't it?
I warned you.
I
warned all of you out there. People keep voting for this.
You know what it is with Amazon? They're actually a shitty company. You can tell. No, they are. The way they treat staff, the way they treat everybody, you just know what you're dealing with. And in fact, have you noticed on tele? Is that how you say it, Graham? On tele.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Tele.
Yeah. On television, they've been advertising of what wonderful things they've done. I mean, I'm not against Amazon. I just want to protect you guys. But they've been out there with wonderful things on saying, then, look, all the good we do for the public, for the traders. We've got 300,000 businesses in it. We're doing this, we're doing that. But what they don't tell you is that they're luring you in. They're not creating any more business. They're taking business from you because they're making you rely on them. And we all know what happened. But what happens when you rely on a big firm, they will shit all over you, which they're doing because I'd love people to sit at my side and see what goes on with small businesses when we're preparing their accounts and listening to the trouble they're in. In fact, today's been a bit miserable because we're a lot of people upset about how they're going to pay back the bounce back loans. But having Amazon copy what they're doing, pinch their customers, constantly charge increasing fees and little things that you weren't expecting is not something that we're looking for in a business partnership. So this is why the more publicity these guys do, saying why would they have to advertise, say look how wonderful Amazon is and look what they're giving back, when all these companies do, all they do is take. So do use Amazon. do use them to sell a bit of gear, and test your products, but get your own websites going. Get those channels coming to you. Don't trust these wankers. Sorry, can't say that, can I? I didn't say banker, I said wanker, so it's okay.
This is the thing, like, like you said, use Amazon, sell through it.
Yeah.
I did it the other day, though, where I bought a book and it wasn't from Amazon, it was from a separate company, and there was a whole book in there, a separate book, that was a flyer, and it wasn't like an advert for that bookshop, it was an advert for, have you considered these books that are being released soon? And I had such a good feeling that I'll be going back to that bookshop now. So yeah, use Amazon, but get your own stuff in there.
Get your own stuff going. Yeah.
Build a relationship.
That's what we want, because they will kill small business in the end. It's not just Amazon; it's all these big firms.
It's what Facebook did with websites.
They're all doing it. It's look after your own business, get your own channels sorted. It's what counts. And just incidentally, my boycott of McDonald's has now hit the second week. So anybody wants to join me, because after they gave me that £50 parking ticket, I'm not spending anything in that until at least I've had that money back. And if they ever find out who I am, they'd probably ban me anyway, which is a good thing, because I could do without eating stuff like that. Graham, we've got here quote of the day.
Yeah.
I was trying to work out what QOTD meant, because you've written QOTD.
I thought it'd be obvious at this point.
Do you want to say it?
I'll do my quote, yeah. Well, you brought the Amazon story this week, and I brought the Amazon quote.
We just knew we were going to have a dig at Amazon.
Well, this is an interesting one. So Jeff Bezos has said, if you can't feed a team with 2 pizzas, it's too large.
Sorry, I could eat 2 pizzas myself.
I was going to say...
And how big's the team?
I can easily eat a single pizza to myself, without
but
any
he doesn't
problem.
say how big the team is either.
No.
So does that mean if it's a big team, people get less and less and less? Hence, it's sort of like it sort of like shows what Amazon, and the bigger it get, the less people get, but the more they take.
I just think it's nonsense as well. That
I just don't understand
that he
that
had the
quote.
balls to go on record saying this when he employs millions of people.
Yeah.
I mean, and it alludes to his mentality of how big are the slices for everyone?
Let them. What was it? What was the quotation? We've got no bread, so let them eat cake. Is it a bit like that?
Was that Marie Antoinette?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because she had her head sliced off, didn't she?
You say that like that's what we've been doing today.
Well, I think this is what Ammon does. It depowers everything. And you've been in such a mood all day, honestly. It took Hayden to come in and just smack you and put things in perspective, release a bit of pressure for you.
Before we move on, please, if we can calm down with your married jibes.
I would never marry you. You wouldn't even show me. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, Biscuit Vapes has just said that Amazon customers get looked after at the expense of suppliers.
Yes.
I think that's a good point, because from a customer point of view, it's amazing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but at the cost of supplies, and good customer service is what we're all about. I mean, I can't stand bad customer service. I mean, I walked out of a shop this morning just going in to buy a sandwich, because it was one of the big stores, by the way, is Subway, because the staff were behind the counter. Everyone was like queued up like that, and I've still got my mask on, and the staff behind the thing, they seemed to be like asleep. So I just went somewhere else.
Still wearing a mask then, are you?
I do. I do. If it's a busy, but I've never been one for big crowds. But if I do see, a lot of people together, I will wear a mask. So
can I just give some shout outs as well? Duke Braxey's in. He said, "You're not Hayden." No, he's not.
What's the difference? Talking sense or lots of hair?
We've also got Mark Wild in. We've got Total Utter Nutter, whose question last week is on.
You thought I'd have to do some research on that. Should we go to that while we're there?
We can jump to that.
Because what was the question?
Well, maybe let's not jump to it then.
No, let's go and jump to it.
Okay,
let's do it while I'm in the mood.
Page 3.
You like pastry, don't you? Yeah.
He wanted to know your opinion on the 80-20 rule.
The 80-20. Well, that's got another name. It's called Pareto's principle, and the basic idea is that 20% of everything of benefit comes from 80% of the work. So, in a business capacity, you'd say that 80% of your 20% of your aggravation probably comes from 80% of your customer base, and 20% of your profits probably come from your 80% of your customer base. The problem is know which ones they are. And a lot of products work like that. Products, 20% of the good products come from 80% bad products, but you don't always know what's what unless you start measuring things. I know, I don't know whether 80-20 is the right formula, but over the years, I'd say, yeah, it's a pretty good estimate of a starting point of measurement. And they basically reckon that 80% of all your procedures and all your everything that you do, all your practices are predictable, and therefore you can automate them, and 20% of them you've got to jump on, and that's why the hassle customers are the 20%, the high profit customers are the 20%. So they got to 80-20 for a reason. So yeah, it's if I've got an opinion on it, and an opinion on it is that a true number? Yeah, I'd say it's over time it does feed to that. Do I care about it? Well, yeah, because I do a lot of measurements. That's what I do all day, measuring things. No, not those things, Graham. Just business things and numbers and stuff like that.
Dude, did you tweet about peas today or something like that?
Peas.
There's a lot of pea-related questions, as in garden peas.
I like garden peas.
You know what? It's probably good that you've said that because they really want to know.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
They're just... Well, apparently 80% of the peas come from 20% of the pods. And,
do you know what? I'm going to ignore that, but I don't know what it means. But I'm sure it's got something there.
Literally, there is a disease right now in chat, and they're all referring everything.
Do you know, I sometimes, you get these peas in a pack or in a pod.
Yeah.
And I sometimes sit on the couch with them, and me and the dog, because the dog likes peas, so she sits there, I sit there, and we share the peas out.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I hope you're happy, everyone. You finally got some pea.
But I get more than 80% of them, I've got to tell you. Sorry, are we moving? Is there any more? Any more people want to say anything? I'm so excited that people actually ask me anything.
Yeah, I can have a look. Alan wants to know about carrots. Carrots?
I chop them up. I like them in soup.
Mark reckons that if he was super rich, he'd be buff.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Mark also says that Jeff Bezos survives off one piece of pizza a day.
Yeah.
This is.
I'm glad we've got a good discussion going on.
Yeah, they're
TikTok.
all chatting.
I like TikTok. Do you like TikTok?
You know what? The only time I ever watch TikTok is when you send me them, and I sit there like a moron for half.
It's addictive, isn't it? It's really addictive. But it's. I like TikTok because it's quick, easy to do. You can do a quick video, and you can get it out there. And now they're going TikTok business. And I think it's a good idea. They did do a competition, for where you could win $5,000 for entering your video into their system, and you could win $5,000. They've finished it now. I think it finished in May, but they'll do more things. I think people should look out for some of these competitions, because a lot of these big media groups, and newspapers and all sorts of things, they do a lot of competitions, and they're quite good money on them sometimes. And it's also more than that, it's good publicity, and it gets you into that practice of marketing your business. Because remember, Amazon are unlikely to steal your brand. They'll only copy what it is you do. So it's your brand that becomes important. So I just thought I'd mention TikTok because I quite like it. Do you know what I don't like? And this brings me back to Amazon as well, because they seem to do every dirty stunt in the book, and it's this sort of like this sneaky auto renewals of payments. I never thought about how many subscriptions have you taken out for software and for even gym memberships, and you forget all about them, and they're not very good, and then all of a sudden they take the money again, and you think, oh shit, I forgot to cancel that. Well, you can go back to them quickly and say, hey, I didn't tell you to take that again, please refund it. I don't know why there's no legislation to say if you can't just automatically renew. You've got to send people out some sort of letter to say, hey, your fees are due again, or not your fees, your subscriptions are due, and you've got warnings so you can cancel it. I mean, I've got. Have you got Amazon Prime?
I do have Prime. I love it. I can.
Do you love it?
Say,
I think it's crap. I think after 3 months you've watched everything.
Oh no, well it's the 1 day delivery for me.
Oh no, I was talking about the video, the streaming service.
It's all one thing, isn't it?
Netflix is much better.
Yeah, I mean, but Netflix don't get me dad's birthday present on 1 day notice.
Well, if you didn't forget, you wouldn't need 1 day notice.
No, I do. I forget everything. I literally.
Your poor father, honestly.
Well, he got nothing this year. But
Have you got any brothers?
I do, yeah. And they all get Amazon 1 day delivery stuff.
Oh, so I was going to say it's obvious why you're not the favourite.
Oh, I'm definitely not the favourite, but that's another thing for another day.
No, but I think things like that. I mean, I went to join a gym a few weeks ago because I need to join a gym.
I do not have an expired gym membership of any kind.
Well, I just like
Guaranteed.
it when they say, right, it's a 12-month contract. Why? What am I getting that I've got to enter into a 12-month contract for? So if I come 3 months, I don't really like it. Why do I have to keep paying? So I refuse to pay it. So they agreed I could have a rolling membership. It
sounds like you just went in and had a proper Karen after.
No, it's not that. It's just that why do you have to pay for something? Well, I understand if something's done something for you, then you can carry on with, they've done some work. It's a fee. It's not a subscription. But just because at that moment in time you fancy taking advantage of, a swimming pool, why do you have to commit to 12 months? If you go, keep it rolling. So if you don't pay it, you're not allowed in. That's just one man's opinion.
Well, you've just answered the question, though, haven't you, in terms of the fact that things do auto-renew.
Yeah.
And especially if you've got the 12 months one, you're feeling fat after Christmas, you do the January sale, and then by the time the next one comes along, you're like, do you know what? I'm going to use it this year.
Well, I think that's one of the, one of the sort of like kosher scams, as we say. It's one of the scams that is legal as opposed to scams that aren't legal. Because we had a gentleman to one of my one-to-one podcasts the other day, Andy Powell, who's invented a game called Scam It. And the idea is that it's a bit like Monopoly, except they go through different scams and it teaches kids and people to look out for it. So we've been talking about scamming.
Chef's just been in touch saying that the Prime auto renewal got you last year. The Prime one's a big one, isn't it? It's like 90 quid or something.
No, it annoyed me because when I looked at the timing, it was like 2 seconds past midnight.
Oh no! Say again, sorry.
It's like 2 seconds past midnight.
Yeah, I think just.
You can pay monthly, but
you can, but I think it's cheaper if you get it in the year.
Well, just I don't know.
When my daughter was younger and I didn't have a lot of money, it did come out. But you know what, Chev? You should get in touch because they'll take it. They'll refund the entirety.
Ask them to give it you back. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. When I was struggling for money,
they will give it back because they're so scared of that reputation. They don't need people like me capitalising on
Well, that was it. When I did have a bit more money and I was like, I want my 1 day deliveries again.
Do you know what I wanted to mention outside you babbling on about bleeding Amazon? It's all you talk about. And we're going to come back to scams. No, I just wanted to say that what people don't know is that I spend a lot of time working alone in the dark, writing articles and working, but... Yeah, working, sorry, because it's a labour of love, so I never thought of it like that. Yeah. No, I write lots of articles to back up the show, and I put them into a newsletter. And if you would like to get some of these articles, they don't cost you anything, and they can be quite useful. And I expand on some of the things we're talking about with facts and figures and links so that you can explore things yourself. And if I do see any bargains, it's full of that as well, and ways of making money. So just all you have to do is go to my website, stephenenglander.co.uk or accountsdirect.co and just sign up for the newsletter and it'll be emailed to you. I've been trying to spam emails out, but they keep bouncing now, so I have to stop doing that. So
this is a building of consent now, Stephen.
It is. We are. With the old days. I'm a professional accountant who's a public figure, and I need to be a good boy and do things exactly how they should be and not annoy people. But do go and get the newsletter, and if there's anything you'd like me to research or look at, let me know. Right, so I just thought I'd mention that. Better than mentioning the podcasts that I keep forgetting to mention. But if you do want to watch me on a different podcast or want to listen somewhere, go to where you want to listen to us. And if you can't find us, let us know. We'll make sure that we're there. Franchisees, we were talking about franchisees before, weren't we?
Yeah.
I used to...
I wasn't expecting you to come at me then.
No, we were just talking about franchises. Cause
it's a dark moment of my day. I'm trying to forget it, to be honest.
It's a good business model that I'd like to introduce more people to. Sometimes you can take on an existing franchise to complement the business you've got, and therefore you inherit all the skills and know-how and some connections. So sometimes it's worth doing. There's a lot of very expensive and not very productive scams out there. Not scams, sorry, it's in my head, scams. Franchises out there that are really not worth the money, but there's some quite good ones as well. On the other hand, if you've got a good product and a good methodology of doing things, maybe it's something you could develop as part of a business process that you can then sell and expand the business that way. Either way, if you are thinking of buying a franchise, before you jump in and buy a franchise, you're very welcome to come and have a chat with me. It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes they're really good and get you going, and sometimes they're just overpriced and not worth the money you pay for what you get. But just remember that you're not buying a job, and you're not buying anything of easy money. Whatever franchise you do, whatever you want to take on, you have to work it. You have to work at it. You have to market it. You have to push it. But you get guidance. So work out whether that's true. But like I say, if you've got any ideas, come and have a chat with me. There's an account, a franchise site called Franchise Direct. It's quite good. It's got all the main franchisees on it. So you know, it's worth looking at. And there's plenty others, but go and have a look at that one. Do you know what I get a lot of problems with at the moment, Graham, apart from bounce back loans?
What?
It's people not being able to open bank accounts. It's like, I was looking at a job.
Is that common? Yeah.
No, it's just, I don't understand it. When I started in business, I was like 17, and I went with my grandfather, and he said, I'll introduce you to my bank manager. And he introduced me, and I had an account the next day. I was so happy because I got my checkbook a few days later. And now, people can't, they're waiting months to open an account. I was saying to one of the accountants upstairs, because I had a note to review something, and I said, why haven't we done the accounts? And this was not really started trading properly. And I said, why? We formed the company 3 months ago. And they said, we're not being able to open the bank account. And it's like, what? And it's murder. And interestingly, the government are actually looking, not the government, MPs are looking at the banks now. They can't do anything, but they're looking at the banks to say, why aren't you opening these bank accounts much quicker? But there are, you know, I don't get it. I mean, we did have a relationship with a couple of banks where the managers could come to our place and open bank accounts for people, but now they're not allowed to do that. But even then, it still took time. And we get shouted at because the bank accounts haven't opened. We're not bankers, you know. But something to note is that there are other banks that will open accounts immediately. They're all online banks. They're all these on the all on a computer platform, and the blockchain, and the companies like Tide and what's the one you opened?
Monzo's good.
And
you can use that anonymously.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these accounts do. They're like glorified credit cards. You know, they're like, I'm not getting into doing things anonymously to avoid paying tax and things, VAT.
Stephen, can I just say, and it's kind of a little off topic, but isn't it a shame, because I saw the twinkle in your eye, that young people, perhaps some of the people watching this, will never know the deep joy of the promise and the potential
check
of that first check.
Yeah, I had plenty of them.
For those stated checks were a wonderful thing.
For those that don't remember what checks are, and you know, something like 50% of businesses setting up now are millennials, so you know, people like me that are old and decrepit. But a check, it was like something that you wrote out on a piece of a pre-printed slip how much you're going to pay someone. So I could pay Hayden £100, say, pay Hayden Hewitt £100 and give it to him. And he would put it in his bank, and 3 days later, that money would be cleared in his bank. What Hayden's going about, in those days, people used to come into the warehouse and give us checks, and the checks used to bounce, which means that they weren't paid for. Can you imagine waiting 3 days after you've banked something to know that you've not been paid, and then knowing there's very little you can do about it except getting the court process going? So the banks today, you ping someone, you blip them, and the money's there instantly. We forget how people used to live, don't we, Hayden?
I don't.
Do you know, now that you're thinking about
it,
do you know, since you've mentioned it, there's about 3 or 4 people that have just come into my head that still owe me money on bounce checks. But anyway, so if the main street banks like NatWest and Barclays, and they do seem to be a bit more solid and capable than these smaller banks. But sometimes if you can't get a bank account open, get one of these opened. They're really attached to credit cards and debit cards, prepaid debit cards. So it's a glorification of that. And I was actually, I was actually looking with a friend of mine to see what it would cost to set one of these up online.
Yeah. A bank. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It's not that expensive.
It's just
we could do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about it, and I haven't
Isn't
got
it
the
the
energy.
30 million in assets?
No, that was something else. That was the guy who's doing it with it. If I say something might cost £30,000, they go to 30 million because they want to do it on a massive scale. I was just thinking, it'd be a little. Anyway, we're not doing it because it's just too much. And I can't even get an agency with a bank because I don't want the hassle that comes with it. So anyway, how are we going to help people this week? What's our tip of making a few quid? Did you know that last year the government contracted out something like nearly £300 billion to contracts? Did you know that? Well, when you think of the government and the government contracting things out, you're forgetting that includes NHS, all the utility firms, construction, universities, schools, and these things are contracted out, but no one applies for them. So if you want to, say if you're looking for a government contract over £10,000, I've got a list of the emails here that if you contact them, now remember you don't have to supply a product, it's not just about supplying products or doing a service, it's catering as well, it's all sorts of things, so why not have a go? There are some forms to fill in, so if you're struggling with the forms or you want to have a chat about putting why you should get the contract, let me know. We can have a chat with you and help you guide you through it. But there's a lot of business going out by the government, and a lot of it is being unclaimed. And it's worthwhile. It's even worthwhile to contact them and find out what services they're looking for and see if you can then go and supply them. So I would definitely do that, wouldn't you, Graham?
Yeah, and I've got to say, it's all up right now over there. Oh, shut up, Hayden.
Is it on the screen?
It's on the screen. Yeah, exactly where you're pointing.
That way.
Yeah.
So
where you asked for it.
And if you haven't got a pen, I did.
And then all those links are in the description, so no one has to worry. Just go in the description, click there, and get some of that sweet government money.
All about making your money for as little work as possible, but still. Why not? The government's tendering it out there. Why not have a go? Do it as part of your everyday cycle. And even if you've just got a newsagent, maybe you can deliver newspapers to them somewhere. Don't know. See what's available to you. You never know.
No, but it's true, because they do flyering stuff. They do all sorts.
And the government are always looking for new ideas. The government are brilliant to deal with. So instead of you paying them all the time, maybe no, they are good to deal with.
Get some of it back.
Get something back.
Yeah.
Say, look,
what was stolen?
You owe me this. I owe you this in VAT. We'll knock it off. Why not do that? Do a deal with them. No, I think they're good like that.
You're not going to try and do a deal on your VAT bill, are you? Hey,
they do. The old days, the VAT people would do deals. They do less and less of that now.
With the government, Steve, if you want a $5 million contract, you have to promise not to deliver anything.
Yeah.
Ask for 6 and give the guy 1 back, and everyone's happy.
That's the way it works.
Allegedly.
Well, apparently.
Yeah, so we've heard.
Somewhere along the lines. If you want to do it properly, talk to me. If you want to do a little bit of a, talk to Hayden.
Well, whilst we're here, by the way, Chev has just said something very relevant. Be wary with online banks.
Yeah.
Always check they are FSCS protected.
We should. But you see, sometimes when it's the last resort.
Well, we did the segment. We should have said
we should.
You can't.
I know.
I just couldn't pronounce that much. Can I just say thank you, Chev. Chev's one of our accountants, but thank you for watching the show. I do appreciate it. So he's always giving good advice. And I didn't know that either. I knew there was something dodgy about them, but sometimes when you're desperate, you just go for what's on the table, don't you? Are we running short of time here?
Oh, yes.
Should we skip that one? Because that's your nonsense. Go make the noise.
That's the one that would have got us up in the search engine.
Okay, well, hang on. I'll just mention it so we can get in the search engine. RLNI fighting Darren Grimes and Nigel Farage.
There's no
said
point.
it. No, I've said it because it's very good that the sort of like the RLNI have received so many donations, hundreds of £1,000s worth of donations, and they've got to mop up after people do naughty things like smuggling people into the country and they're drowning because they use shoddy workmanship boats. And what I was going to say on that is that's really bad business, because if you give shoddy goods, even at cheap prices, then you're not going to build a sustainable business. So what are you moaning at now? Look, Graham gives me the articles, and I've got to find a business slant. To
This, by the way, this was my first story.
If that's all the information he gave you, and that's how he told you to pitch it, sack him.
No, it's not. That's not. Well, there we go then. I'm not getting sacked, am I? Because that's not what I said.
Should we move on to the next one now? Have you got your? You can use this, or should we do a bit more on it?
Oh, what's that noise? I think we've been pinged.
Oh, I didn't hear it. It was one of those that only you heard. Isn't it pathetic? All these people being pinged and not going to work. You know, how does that work? You know, ping. Do it again, because I was supposed to get up and walk off, wasn't I? Just ping it again. Yeah, because I said ping it. Right? Is it pinged? Right, I've got to go. No, but in different. Sorry, you pay peanuts.
This is going very well.
I think it's fine. So all these people, if you know, just bear in mind, if you get pinged and you go, it's voluntary because it's suggested. If you get a call from the AHS, then it's different. But you know, as an employer, you don't have to pay people that have been pinged. So just bear that in mind if you're struggling, because you know we've not got food on the shelves, we've not got anything because 1.9 million people are still on furlough, and then the government keep pinging them and they're off.
100,000 a day at the moment. 100,000 people a day.
A lot of people being pinged. You know, not good.
That's why the shelves are empty and all that, because no one's bloody there.
Well, you know, go and get injected and get the chips put in you and you know, controlled totally by the government, but at least you'll feel better and you'll be able to go to work. So there are other things to talk about. I mean, Graham wanted me to mention Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But he said it doesn't matter now. And I've forgotten why he wanted me to mention that.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying don't. I can't remember why.
I've had enough.
There's that burn. Yeah, there we go. Another story gone.
Well, we'll do it next week. So, but you know, thank you very much for joining me. I'm stuttering now because they're just laughing at me behind the scenes.
What about the picture?
Oh, put the picture up of this. My Melanie went shopping the other day and she sent me this picture. This is in Tesco's and she's very concerned. I just said, you've missed some bottles. Is that it? It's a good picture. Thank you very much for joining me. Ta-ra. Bye-bye. See you next week.